Hey everybody, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. My guest today is Julie Piatt of SriMu, and she's going to be doing a cooking demo and tell you all about her wonderful cheese company. Well, it's really not cheese. It's not cheese company. Please welcome Julie to the show. Thank you so much for being here. You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you, Chef AJ. It's so sweet to see you and really just precious to spend these moments of life together in this very interesting moment that we're in. And we get to be maskless and talk and share. And so I'm really enjoying the online community for this aspect. So thank you for inviting me on.
It is my pleasure. I can't wait to hear. I haven't seen you in a couple of years. I don't live in LA anymore. That's probably why. But you started this company. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I've published 3 cookbooks. So my first cookbook was The Plant Power Way. And then I published The Plant Power Way Italia. And then I published what has been called the living tome on plant-based, not cheese. And it's called This Cheese is Nuts. So what happened to me during that experience is I was so surprised at what I was able to create in the category of cheesy, creamy, delicious, full body, like legitimate not cheese recipes, using absolutely no animal products, using absolutely no dairy. Like in my imagination, I didn't think it was possible. But when I finished my first cookbook, The Plant Power Way, I had done a very basic sort of recipe section with some warm cashew cheese sauce. And it was so delicious that every time I was pouring this cashew cheese sauce over my nachos, there were just hands grabbing and the whole thing was destroyed before I could even make it to the table. And I thought to myself, you know what? There is something magnificent waiting for me and for the world in the land of plant-based cheese. So I devoted years of my life actually to experimenting with different recipes. I'm an artist, so I'm a singer, a musician, I'm a painter, a sculptor, a writer. And for me, creativity is just one force. It just is directed to a different medium. I'm also a spiritual guide and mentor and teacher, and everything that I do is for the connection of that divinity, for that connection of that divine spirit that is all of us. And this is free from isms, from labels, from religions. I'm talking about the force that is breathing all of us. So I set out on this cheese experiment, not cheese experiment, and I really didn't study other people's techniques. I just like to feel into it and go for it. And so I had a lot of fails, which is not the case in my food. I almost never have something, that's a very easy thing for me. But with cheese, it was a little interesting to try to get the texture. Like one time I tried to make a hemp cheese and I thought it was going to be amazing. And it was horrifyingly bad. It was just really bitter and not good. But anyway, I emerged after this experimentation that is all published in This Cheese is Nuts. So I share it with all of you, no matter where you are tuning in from all over the globe, you can get this book. And there's even a German translation. So if you want to get that book, you can get it on my website at juliepiatt.com. But I had some very dear friends of mine that are in the fashion business and they live in Paris half the time. And they kept coming over and tasting my cheese and begging me to actually turn it into a food product. So after a lot of really consideration and a lot of thoughtful, very measured awareness, I created what I call SriMu, Do Life. And the Do Life means devotional offerings for life. Because when we're eating plant-based food, we are nourishing and blessing our bodies, our children, our beloved animals, and our Mother Earth. SriMu, though, is an offering that is for everyone. It's universal. So it's for vegan, paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, omnivore, everything, whatever it is, you're welcome to the experience of SriMu. So I launched the first not cheese subscription. This is my beautiful branding that was created by my design partner, Brian O'Hara. He's a fine artist. And this braiding in the back actually says devotional offering, but it creates a sort of a modern hieroglyph. And if you guys want to check him out, you should go on Instagram to Atelier O'Hara. He's an extraordinarily gifted, prolific sort of word master of our lifetime. And it's really, really an honor to have him design this. But let me get to the cheese. So SriMu is plant-based, pure, and beautiful. They are 8-ounce wheels. And at SriMu.com, SriMu.com, you have your choice of a sacred altar box, which is a very large devotional offering of 6 cheese flavors. You have 4 aged wheels. You have fresh mozzarella clouds, and you have smoked almond cheddar that is not your grandma's cheese ball. It's really one of the most extraordinary things you've ever tasted. So then we also have a 3 and 4 wheel box where you can just get the wheels, and these are aged wheels, and these last a very long time, months even refrigerated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cheese board, and I'm going to try to show you guys. Can you see that? Okay.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so this is actually a really off the vine. I got these from a local farmer, very beautifully, locally. And I'm going to create a little cheese board using SriMu Do Life, not cheese. So this flavor is the elder. This is a very pure sort of neutral flavor, very creamy, very decadent, very tasty. And we're going to use a portion of that in the mushroom risotto that we're going to make together today. Then I have something called Gold Alchemy, which is absolutely amazing. It actually tastes like ham and cheese sandwich, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And then this third one is called bird tea, and this is camembert inspired. So these actually have just been like in my bag for a minute. So they've been out of the fridge for a few seconds. So I'm just gonna spread that out just a bit. But these are very thick, creamy textures. So I wanna show you the texture on the air, and you'll see just how absolutely authentic, cheesy, artisanal, plant-based, and delicious. So you can just smell the truffle essence from this. And then this one, the Gold Alchemy, it's called, was just such an interesting experience because it tastes like ham, cheese, and mustard. Don't ask me how, because it has turmeric and black pepper in it. It's like that thing where the ingredients make more than the sum of its parts. I don't know how. We were blessed by some crazy thing that happened, and truly delicious. I wish you guys could taste that. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. It is so good. Okay. So I have something really exciting for your listener, Chef AJ. And I did an 8-recipe holiday spread using SriMu. And so anybody who orders SriMu, any product that we offer, we're going to send this 8-recipe PDF to you. Let me see, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can. And so this is not sold in stores, right, Julie?
It's not sold in stores, except we are selling in the world-renowned Erewhon markets. So we just went into them about 2 weeks ago, and they're only in Southern California. But they are arguably maybe the best market in the world. So we are creating an alliance with them, but overall it is just available via subscription, and we ship in cold packs. Everything's eco recyclable, and we're shipping either 1 or 2 day air. So this is a perishable product that is actually like real dairy. Yeah.
Great, because what Carolyn said, are they delivered with a frozen pack to keep them cold?
Yeah, absolutely. Many, quite a few actually. So we have it all engineered, so it's beautifully delivered. So I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to make mushroom risotto today. And I wanted to show you my ingredient board. I love this because it's so simple and so elegant, and actually pretty cost effective as well. So the main ingredients for the mushroom risotto are dried porcini mushrooms, fresh garlic, rosemary from the garden, Aborrio rice, which looks like this, and really olive oil, and then the SriMu. So what I'm going to do to really kick it over the top and make it into really a Michelin star risotto is I'm going to add about a third of a wheel of elder into the risotto when we're done. But don't worry, because if you're not listening to this from the United States or you don't order SriMu, you can add in about a quarter cup of nutritional yeast and experience a very cheesy experience. So that's an option for you. And the other thing that I want to mention is SriMu is a luxury. It is a cheese, a condiment, something that you enjoy as part of your plant-based whole food diet. So no matter what kind of diet you're eating, we all can agree that we need to eat lots of leafy greens, fresh whole foods, things that come from trees, from gardens, from the earth. And so SriMu is wonderful because it really satiates you for that taste of cheese that you've loved for so long, but it does so with pure ingredients. So it's actually really filling your body, really nourishing your body. And over the years that I tested these recipes, I never had a stomach ache. If I eat a handful of nuts, Chef AJ, I get a stomach ache. Like within easily, 20 minutes, I was stomach ache. So I can't digest nuts. But the difference of SriMu is that they are soaked, aged, cured. There are cultures added, and the body simply digests them very easily. And so I believe that SriMu is the next evolution of cheese that is going to allow people to actually adopt a plant-based diet and choose plants on their plate, which makes powerful impact every single meal that you eat. Every time you choose plants on your plate, you are making a difference, which I think is something that many of us struggle with in this world of so much trauma and overwhelm. We feel as if we really can't make a difference. But I'm telling you now that you can make a very vital impact with the choices that you make in the food that you eat. And it's a many layered experience. So do you have any questions, Chef?
No, I was just thinking, because when people are trying to go on a plant-based diet, they say the hardest thing is giving up cheese. So this would be amazing for people that are trying to transition.
Exactly. And this is, I'm proud to say this is legit artisanal cheese. This is not weird, gooey, not sure what you're eating cheese, fake cheese. I have to have another bite. Okay.
That's amazing that the people in France want it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting because you may remember that my husband, Rich Roll, and I, we host retreats in the Italian countryside. We've been doing that for many years. And what's so amazing is when all the food is my recipes and we get there early and we make the cheese, and the Italians are freaking out. Like they can't even believe what's going on. So it's pretty cool. So what I've done is I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the bottom of a pan. I like to use copper with stainless steel interiors. It just conducts the heat really well, but you can use whatever you have. I'm not a fancy chef. I actually published 3 cookbooks, never having a sharp knife. Now I have a sharp knife, but for some reason I had too many kids and too many things going on. So anyway, I'm going to heat that olive oil, and depending on taste, I'm going to add a few cloves of garlic. Now, remembering that the rice is very, sort of absorbs flavors. So you can go a little heavier on the flavors. And then I don't want these, the garlic to burn. Okay, so I'm gonna watch it pretty closely and just sort of wait for the aroma to release. And then almost right away, I'm gonna put in my rice. Now what I've done is I've taken 2 cups of rice and I've rinsed it about 3 times. So I'm just removing the excess starch, which makes that more easily digestible. So I'm just gonna add that in there. And I'm gonna get a wooden spoon because I like the way it feels. And I'm just gonna sort of stir that around. And I'll move my asparagus here.
That asparagus is beautiful.
Yeah, and again, why did I get asparagus? I got asparagus because I can't make risotto without something green. Like you always, you know, again, in Ayurveda, which actually is something that I'd like to share, but I have a very deep relationship with Ayurveda, which is an Eastern Indian science of medicine that uses natural herbs and food to provide health to the body. But in Ayurveda, you're supposed to eat this much food, 2 handfuls. So if you're eating risotto, you don't eat 2 handfuls of risotto. You eat a handful of risotto and a handful of greens, right? And that's how we keep our bodies healthy with a lot of variety. So I've gone ahead and worked this olive oil really well and the garlic into the rice. It's starting to kind of stick to the bottom of the pan. I'm going to turn it down to medium and I'm going to start to add clean water. Now, one of the amazing things about risotto is that all you do is just start cooking it and keep adding water until it absorbs out. It's a really fun dish to make with your kids because it's an easy thing to do and someone can just be stirring. But also it gives this opportunity to infuse the dish with really good vibes. And so remembering in Ayurveda that it really matters who's making your food. And maybe that's why if we had loving mothers, which hopefully most of us did, some of us didn't, but hopefully you had the love of a mother making your food for you. And that's why when you were sick as a child, your mother's food always, you know, seemed to help you and heal you. So in temples and in Vedic tradition, who prepares your food are some of the most advanced beings. They're the highest revered because their energy and their thoughts are going into the food. So we never want to cook when we're angry, when we're emotionally upset. We want to wait until we've calmed down, not only to eat, we don't want to eat emotionally, but we also don't want to prepare food emotionally because those emotions will go in the food. So one thing that I can do right now, we've had kind of a crazy time, is I can put my intentions into this risotto for how about if we put the intention of peace, of loving compassion, of understanding, of care and respect for all life. How about if we just ask that this risotto be made with that intention and really take a moment and feel your breath and just feel that actually entering this very sacred rice that has been touched and grown by the earth and also then prepared and harvested by many hands. And just to have the thought that many people touched this product before you had it on your stove is a practice that really expands your experience of life. So while that is just steaming out, now I'm going to go over to the mushrooms. And I actually sometimes like to do this first. I want to show you guys, I picked porcini mushrooms. And the reason that I picked them is that they are very aromatic. And in plant-based cooking, you can get a sort of earthy, oaky type of flavor by using mushrooms. Also, mushrooms are medicinal for many different reasons. But this is a dried brand. It's a porcini mushroom. and very readily available. And this is Mycological is the brand that I really like. But these are dried porcini that are different sizes, various sizes and shapes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them in a sacred tea bowl. You can put it in any bowl that you have, and you can just say it's sacred because just because you say it is, it is.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in really hot water that I just did in an Insta pitcher. And then I'm just going to let those soak for a bit. So that those are in super hot boiling water. And yeah, see how that is? Great.
So Julie, people are, well, they love your hair. They love the sound of your voice. Candy says you should do meditation recordings. If you like Julie's voice, she actually has a podcast.
I actually do. I do a lot of meditation recordings. So I have a spiritual community online called Water Tiger. And I am a mentor in matters of spirituality. And so my subscription community is a monthly offering. It's $33 a month. And I have an entire catalog of meditation techniques and healing techniques that are designed to assist you to connect more with who you are. So I believe in the divinity of life. I believe in the perfection of all life forms. And so that means that you are divine. I am divine. Chef AJ is divine. We all came with some unique sort of perspective to share. Maybe it's creativity. Mine is cheese. One of mine is cheese. So Water Tiger is a way to know way. It's a way to connect to your spiritual nature that is free from isms, from gurus, from lineages, or from control systems. It's about pure individual freedom. And I am not taking responsibility for my community of Water Tiger. It is up to you to take your own responsibility for your own life. But I am 58. I've had 4 kids. I've had numerous businesses. I've had 3 marriages. I went through financial collapse over 9 years. I'm a musician. I was in a band with my boys. I created a homeschooling way, and I've created this Not Cheese, and I have a lot of life experience. And so the way that I share is by simply sharing my experience, understanding that every life form is valued and loved. And I'm no better and no worse than any other life form, as is all of us. So if we can meet in that equanimity, we can really have a much more expanded life experience. And so if you're interested in more of that, go to juliepiatt.com, and it's Water Tiger. Click on it and it'll tell you the whole thing, how it works. Also really important, I think, with Water Tiger is I'm not creating another community for you to have to get involved with and interact with people. We have enough external stimulus that is vying for our attention. So Water Tiger is really cultivating your relationship with your own heart in your own way. We do have a monthly meeting that you can stream at your leisure, your convenience, or you can join. And I answer questions, and it's been really a huge, meaningful part of my life. The only downside for Water Tiger is after I do it, I feel so fulfilled that I don't really feel the need to do anything else. And I have a lot of other things I'm working on. So anyway, yeah, thanks for asking that. Oh, and also I have a podcast that's called For the Life of Me. And the reason I named it For the Life of Me is because I was interviewed on a podcast recently, and they asked me, what can you not live without? Like what thing in your life would you not be able to live without? And my answer was, I wouldn't be able to live without devotion, with the devotion for life, the beauty of life, the reverence, the mystery. And so I created this podcast, For the Life of Me. It's like a double entendre, right? Because people they're like, I couldn't solve it for the life of me, right? But mine is For the Life of Me, like for the life of me, I offer all this. So it's a spiritual podcast. It's available wherever podcasts are streaming. And anyway, you can join me there if you like. Okay.
Have you meditated for a long time?
Yeah. So I was one of those people that came into the life with this spiritual focus. So everything in my life has been about spirituality. But don't misunderstand. I had a long stint as a very young person using drugs. So a true life is both light and dark. We have both experiences that inform who we become. But yeah, I always wanted to know what happens when we die. What is there that is more than what we're doing? And one of the big surprises for me is how much spiritual connection we have through food. I really didn't realize that. And one thing I wanted to share, which is why Ayurveda, is I'm a pretty thin person, and my family didn't have eating issues. Like we had a lot of leaders in my family. I was the youngest of 5. My mom was not an amazing cook. My dad was a hunter. So we would have salmon or moose or caribou or whatever. I was in Alaska. But it was kind of like every man for himself. Food was just kind of like an afterthought. So I'm genetically a thin person, like AJ, you're genetically a thin person.
I used to be 200 pounds. I'm a genetically fat person. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Look at you. Since I've known you, you've been a genetically thin person.
Well, yes, I have. I do believe that, genetics loaded the gun, but lifestyle pulls it true. I'd love to, if there's time, I'd love to know your plant-based journey, because, we know your husband, Rich Rolls, because you really were instrumental in him becoming plant-based, but I don't really know how and when you became plant-based.
Yeah, so let me tell you. So I was raised in Alaska on game meat. And then, moved to California and I became a fashion designer. I was starting to get into yoga. And all of a sudden, after I got back into a yoga practice, I wasn't drinking a lot, but I just stopped drinking wine, stopped drinking coffee, stopped eating meat. And it wasn't an intellectual decision. It was simply that those things fell off of me. As I started meditating, practicing yoga, getting in alignment with my soul, I didn't have a taste for those things anymore. So, as I said, I'm a thin person. And so in 2008, I was walking by my mirror and noticed that I had a huge golf ball sized cyst in the front of my neck. It came out like super suddenly. It was my anniversary with Rich and I didn't tell him because I didn't want him to be worried about me. And then I showed him later and he was like, yeah, you got to go get that looked at. So I went to have it examined and it was diagnosed as a thyroglossal duct cyst, which is common in children between the ages of 8 and 10. It was a completely bizarre thing. And I had a botched tonsillectomy as an adult when my 25-year-old was a year old. I had some inflammation and some infection in my throat. And I went to see a surgeon and he was like, it's really easy. We'll just cut him out. It'll be 3-day recovery, no biggie. So I went ahead and did this. And I realized when I came out that I had lost my taste buds. I lost the ability to taste for 1 year. And I had pain referral from my tonsils into my ears that morphine was not working for. So it was a very traumatic event. I lost about 20 pounds, which was a lot for me. And when I recovered later, some years when I had the cyst in my neck, I was not really agreeable to having my neck cut. It just was not, I was like, I'm not letting you near me. So I found this Ayurvedic physician who was a very spiritual man who worked out of his basement and prescribed herbs out of jars that he got from India. And he prescribed for me a primarily plant-based diet. He wrote it in pencil on a single sheet of notebook paper. And I ate off of that page for almost 2 years. And at night I would put paste on the cyst and wrap my neck. And all these pus, like pimples, came out on my face. Like every day I would wake up and they were just hundreds of them. And my facialist was begging me to stop taking the herbs. Everyone I knew was begging me to stop taking the herbs. And I was saying, no, 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 this is what is clearing out of my body. Like, and I think in our culture, we don't like to look at the ugly. We just want it to go away. So we just want to put a Band-Aid on it or cover it up or act like it's not there. But for true healing, you really need to look, you need to go within and you need to see what it is. So luckily, Rich was supportive, although my parents and my family were contacting him privately behind my back, trying to get him to get me to go the surgical route. And I just wasn't budging. And I started to see it go down, AJ. After like 2.5 months, I saw it shrink and I was like, I'm on this. So in about, I guess, 1 year and 8 months, the whole thing was completely gone. It's never come back. It's completely healed. And so I was eating Ayurvedically, medicinally, but including some ghee, which is a carrier of medicine in Ayurveda, and a ritual of a warm goat milk at night because it signals the body into relaxation. But you can achieve that as well with warm coconut milk, or even a warm cup of herbal tea, you know, mint tea or something could do something very similarly. So I healed myself of this cyst. As a skinny person, it was really a gift to me because I realized it matters what you put in your body. And had I not had that experience, you know, I might not have learned that. So basically, that was my journey to Ayurvedic eating. And then we were going through this 9-year financial collapse with 4 kids. Rich and I were serving our hearts. I was making music and he was doing races on plants, double Ironman races. And neither one of these, by the way, led to any kind of financial income as far as anybody could tell. But we just knew we had to keep going. And then Dr. Sanjay Gupta, on the morning of my birthday, the CNN medical correspondent, picked up Rich's story. And I woke up on my birthday to the vegan athlete story that Sanjay Gupta had run. And I decided that day that I would go vegan in solidarity with Rich, just energetically, because it was a show of support. And I became so healthy and so lean and so strong. I learned how to cook a completely different way. And I love cooking vegan food, plant-based food. So that's kind of how it all happened. I'm going to grab some more water.
Great. If you don't mind, Julie, I have a few questions. Let's see. The first one is, well, how did you and Rich meet?
Coming.
That's okay. And then we have a couple about the cheese subscription and one about the rice when you get back.
We met in a yoga class.
That's amazing. Would you remember what kind of class it was? What kind of yoga?
Yeah, it was an asana class, like a hot yoga class. Not like, it was just a lot of people. And it was a very fun class that was to actually hip hop music. So it was kind of a fun, light yoga class.
And the rest is history, as they say.
History, right.
We have a question from Caroline that if somebody were to get the subscription, would it be possible for like one of the months to send it to a different address?
Yes, it is possible, but you have to alert my team and make sure that we've shifted that. I say yes emphatically, and I don't know. I know there's a way to do it. We would have to do it on the back end. So we either have to cancel you and redirect, or I don't know, but just reach out to the website, to the email on the website and ask for help with that.
Great. And there was a question, I'm not sure, let's see who it's from. Yes, from Bethany. Would it be possible to use brown rice for the risotto?
Yeah, totally possible to use brown rice. That's a really good idea. I don't eat brown rice myself because it develops more mucus Ayurvedically for my dosha. But it doesn't mean that it's like that for everyone. And sometimes I do enjoy brown rice. I think it would just be a little more probably country style, like a little bit more grainy or more country style, I would say. But that's a good idea. Also wanted to mention that if you don't have Aborrio rice, you can use sushi rice. I had to do that once because actually with COVID, they had closed Italy down, so we weren't getting the shipments. Yeah.
What, any of the doctors know about your recovery?
I didn't. You know why I didn't? Because I'm a spiritual being, and it doesn't matter what I would have said, they would have come back with some other reason. And I actually had a physician that was a friend of mine. She was an anesthesiologist and a very beautiful woman and beautiful kids. But she did this kind of knee-jerk thing to me. When it healed, I got pregnant, around the same time. And then she said to me, "Oh, your pregnancy healed it," just like in one thing. And I stopped her and I said, "You don't have the right to take away my 2-year healing journey with what I experienced." And she said, "You're right, I apologize." But it's such a program with the medical, most physicians, not all, it's changing, but they're so in their heads, so they would have searched for the evidence that I was wrong. And I just wanted to keep my experience for my own journey.
But I bet the plant-based doctors would believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them maybe know my story because they've heard it. I don't know. But yeah, so the plant-based doctors would. Many of these beloved, amazing beings that we know.
When you went plant-based, how old were your kids at the time, and did they go plant-based as well?
They did. Some of them were not born. So my oldest was probably, I don't know, 7, 8. And I had a mixed household at that time because the boys have a different dad. And I had pushback from their dad. They're also smaller humans. And so he was worried about their size. And so one of my boys was always naturally vegetarian. So he couldn't really do anything about that. And then my other boy, he would try to slip him, meat when he had them. But we just kept making amazing food. And for quite a few years, all of the kids were completely vegan. My boys moved out. Now they're 20. Well, they're back with me now because it's COVID. I have them back, but which makes me very happy. But, they've relaxed. They'll have some cheese but they don't eat meat for sure. And now, they're just back enjoying vegan food. So, I do think it's important to, and with the girls, so when they were little, they were completely vegan the whole time. And then again, when they become teenagers, they're exercising their rebellion and they're wanting to eat cheese. So again, no meat, but some cheese. And I have to allow them their own journey into their own truth, even though it drives me crazy sometimes. But they all love SriMu, and so it's been a good journey.
It's funny that the cheese is what they want when their mom is what do you call like a master cheesemaker? Is there a word?
Call me a doyen of cheese. I don't really know. Okay, so I want to show you guys the risotto. Look how creamy it is. Can you guys see? I mean, it's super creamy and beautiful, right? And we just had a beautiful conversation there.
It's comfort food. Risotto is comfort food.
It is. It's comfort food. And it's winter now, and I think maybe some of us need a little comfort right now. So I don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the water because it is boiling hot. So it's sterilized anything that was in there, but it's going to give a little bit of flavor. And then I'm going to pull the mushrooms out. If you wanted to, I'm just going to chop them coarsely. I don't tend to like super small things. I like to eat it and feel the texture. So I'm not a fine chopper. That's not my vibe. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take
a fromagier, somebody is saying, fromagier.
Ah, I like that word. Thank you. I'll have to use that. That's beautiful.
Kathleen wants to know if any of your cheeses are without nuts. I guess some people have a nut allergy.
Yeah, that's so nice to ask. Currently, no, but in this Cheeses Nuts, I have a nut-free section. And I have about, I think, 6 or 7 recipes there that are nut-free. One kind of exciting thing is that I do make an amazing feta. It was like fall down on the floor, and that's with sprouted tofu. So go to this Cheeses Nuts and you can find the nut-free. And then eventually, as my cheese empire grows, I will have a nut-free section, but it's going to be it's going to be a while.
Great.
Yeah.
Are you self-taught as a cook?
I am. I am. I use the same. I'll show you guys. I have a wok that I had since I was like 20. So this is my wok that I made most of my recipes in. My son was like, Mom, we'll buy you a new wok. I said, no, buy me a new wok. I just want the old one. So yeah, I started cooking with a boyfriend of mine in college. He was French. He was French American. Maybe that helped though. And I've just always been good with food. I'm a Cancer. I love the home. I love family. I love cooking. So it was just kind of a natural thing. And in my case, I benefited from no training. Because if I had had training, I might not have been able to develop SriMu, because I would have had these ideas in my head about how things go.
Oh, Bethany says, I love the Plant Power Way. It was one of my first whole food plant-based books. Can't wait to order the cheese. My hubby really misses cheese. And Carolyn wants to know if the subscription automatically renews every year.
It's okay. So it's you can either do it every 3 months. You can do it every month, every other month, or every 3 months. And I don't think it does automatically renew. I think you would have to re-up it. But you can choose from any of those frequencies. And also you can cancel at any time. And, you know, so don't feel like you're stuck, you know, if anything changes. And we're offering a $13 off to Chef AJ's listeners on any box offering. And you can find all of those at the website.
Great. And let's see, this is what we were talking about before the show started. Susanna from Portugal says, what is the secret for the lovely hair?
Thanks. Well, courage first. I dyed my hair brown, like dark brown, like Chef AJ's for most of my life. I think I got my first gray hair when I was 16. It wasn't like a lot gray, but I had gray. And so, you know, I don't know. I just woke up like 2.5 years ago and it was bugging me. And, you know, every time the white comes, I was chasing that white line. And I told Chef AJ, I thought I had white hair, like Santa Claus white hair. And I just decided it was time. So I did a ceremony with a friend of mine, who's my partner in Water Tiger, Mel Nahas from Conscious City Guide, which you guys should check that platform out. It's amazing, Conscious City Guide. And I did a ceremony and then took all the color out of it. So my hairdresser had to remove all the color, which is very toxic, but it was all dyed. And so I was trying to get it white, but my hair couldn't go there or it would have broken off. So I ended up being a blonde, which was kind of a universal joke on me. I have many blonde friends that I love and adore, but I've never identified with being blonde. And there I was, blonde for like 1.5 years. But that was actually a good experience. And then, you know, slowly it started growing in, and that was a much more gentle transition from here to the blonde, then here to black, you know, dark brown. And then my hairdresser, much to my shock and horror, lobbed off like 4 inches, and I was super bummed, and my hair was short. And so now I'm just turning the corner. I have just a couple ends that are still blonde, and in about another 6 months, it'll be completely natural where I want it to be. And I really love it. I really love it, and I think more of us should make gray amazing and beautiful, because it's not just one color, it's many colors. And I think also that if we have the courage to look at what is, it really frees us. And if I didn't have the courage to look at what is, I wouldn't be looking at this. But it wasn't easy, and I don't recommend it for everyone. It was hard for me.
You have to have patience.
Yeah. And
but you do, because you healed yourself. I mean, that took patience. It wasn't a quick fix.
It's not the instant gratification. That's the thing. But it's like I built 2 houses in my life, and I asked myself on this last house, if I could just snap my fingers and have the house, would I take it? And my answer is no, because we're here for the process. The cooking is about the process of cooking. It's about the process of evolving, the process of becoming. So that's how we learn and grow and shift. So, yeah. So here I've got some fresh rosemary from the garden. I just coarsely chopped it. It smells amazing. I'm going to sprinkle it into my risotto. And I haven't added any salt yet, because it's fine to just add the salt at the end, and then you're not getting extra salt that maybe you don't need. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to use some truffle salt. If you could smell that, it smells like black truffle. It's amazing. But I do want to share with you guys that I love this salt. This is Celtic sea salt. This is a very beautiful product that is actually a food for my body. So it's something that I add at the end. It's a mineral. It's not like Morton salt. It's really amazing. So this is a sea salt as well. I'm going to do a couple pinches in there, and you'll adjust that to taste. And I'm also going to do some fresh cracked pepper. And this is good for digestion, and also just gives a contrast to what we're doing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 1/3 of a wheel of elder. And this is about this much. And I'm just going to drop little bits in the risotto. I could use a spoon. I'm just using a knife right now. And then before I stir that in, I'm going to steam my asparagus. And you could do like a Dijon kind of marinade. Chef AJ, do you do a Dijon marinade ever?
I love Dijon mustard, and I mix it a lot of times with balsamic vinegar and roast vegetables in it, or make salad dressings with it.
That would be a good way to do it and not have any extra oil in it. So you could do your asparagus the way Chef AJ is going to do it, which would be oil-free. And that would offset the SriMati risotto with the SriMu.
I'm just curious if you ever approached any restaurants to carry your cheeses.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a really dear friend of mine, Colin Hudon, who has a it's called Mountain Gate Tea House in Telluride. And he's the first one to carry SriMu. They offer a SriMu cheese plate, and it's a very beautiful sacred offering. We are actually being considered by Savannah Resorts right now. And I am interested in doing food service, because it's such a powerful way to enjoy SriMu. And so it's kind of like, the Impossible Burger, or, any of those alternative, animal product options. But what I would say is that mine is not made in a lab. It's all pure natural ingredients. So your body is just going to feel psyched after you eat and taste this.
Well, you know what I was thinking is maybe like a high-end place like the Stanford Inn. It's a vegan inn, in Mendocino.
Thank you so much. Actually, you just reminded me. Sid and I just exchanged emails that he's one of the executive managers. And he has a new book coming out that has this really cool title. You should have him on. It's called something like Six Things or something like that. So I wish I could remember Sid's title.
Well, I've had him on and I'm happy to have him on again.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for that. I definitely will reach out. So, we're really kind of there. There you have your final risotto. And that SriMu just melted right in there. And you can see just how beautiful and steamy and delicious that is. And this would probably serve about 6 people. So there you have it.
That looks amazing and so creamy.
Yes.
Without dairy.
Light creamy, no dairy, no dairy.
And guys, the recipe is in the show notes. I got it in there, so you can have that and try it.
You guys, I failed to put the porcini mushrooms, so don't forget to get a package of porcini mushrooms.
Well, I can add that. So one pack, is there a certain amount of ounces?
Yeah, 0.5.
0.5 ounces.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll add that right now.
Well, thank you for that. And so I hope to meet some of you down the path. Chef AJ, you've been such an inspiration. And, I always smile when I see you on the menu at Sharky's, the Chef AJ burrito that you created. And it's just been really amazing knowing you and sharing our work in this space. And I'm very honored that you invited me to come on and spend this time with you. So
it's been a pleasure. I realized, Julie, you sent me the ingredients, but I don't know if you sent the directions.
No, I didn't. I probably didn't. Okay.
So that's okay. We can add them later, but they can watch the video too to learn how to do that. Well, it's just
you'll see it. You'll know.
Yeah, and I want them to watch the video too. They can get a recipe anywhere. It's more fun to watch the broadcast.
If you guys order SriMu, let me see if I can share. You have to let me share my screen.
Oh, sure. Let me do that right now. Okay. There you go.
Okay, so let me see where this is.
I have a great question from Kathy. Which are your best-selling cheeses and which is your personal favorite?
Oh, it's so hard because I have over 50 recipes and I could only start with like 4. So do you guys, let me just, do you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Oh, hold on. Let me just go share screen. Try again. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to answer that question, but here I just want you guys to see. So do you guys see this beautiful table that we did for the holidays? So it's 8 recipes. We have a fig salad with blue cheese dressing. We have these stuffed potato bites with fresh mozzarella. We have a rigatoni with bonfire almond meatless balls. We have this ham and cheese sandwich here that's with gold. And then this is the mushroom risotto you have right there. So we have all of these recipes and we have a berry pie that you can't see on this. So when you order SriMu using Chef AJ's code, we will send you this recipe PDF. So it'll help enhance your holiday experience. And then my favorites are really all of them. I really can't say. I'd say a lot of people really like Bertie because it's truffle infused. And it tastes a lot like camembert. It has that feeling. But Spire is inspired by blue, but it's made with spirulina, which is just so artistic and uplifting, and it's delicious. It has a little bit more spices, so it really doesn't taste like blue cheese. It's way better than blue cheese. Elder is aged and cured for authentic wisdom. It has a little bit of activated charcoal in it. And it's very mild and smooth, like you could make a pie with it or a cake with it. And then Gold Alchemy is like the ham and cheese that we don't know how that happened, but it's some magic that happened. It's just delicious and nostalgic. And then we have one called Dolce Vita, which is very creamy and pure. This has some coconut in it, but you don't taste the coconut, but it gives it even more of a creamy. It's sort of like a triple cream. And that has a little bit of blueberry essence in it. It doesn't taste sweet, just for color, for the design on it. And then I do something called Cloud 9, which are fresh mozzarella clouds, fall down on the floor, soft, wet cheese. They're shipped in salted water. And then we have something called Bonfire, which is the smoked almond cheddar, which is absolutely irresistible almond cheddar ball. It's amazing.
Karen says it looks fantastic. Linda wants to know if you're able to freeze the cheese, and Nadine wants to know how long does it last?
Okay, so super good question. So the fresh flavors, which are the fresh Cloud 9, the mozzarella, and the Bonfire, they are only available in the big altar box, and they need to be eaten within 10 days. The rest of the wheels, all the other aged wheels, will last a minimum of 2 months, and as long as 3 or 4 months if you ever saved them that long, which you wouldn't. They have natural, authentic cheese cultures in them. So after some weeks in your refrigerator, you may see traces of a white rind, like on a traditional camembert, and those are completely safe to eat. The wheels are completely freezable, and that's what Colin does at Mountain Tea Gate, is he freezes and then takes them out as he needs them.
Oh, nice. Do you ever teach cooking classes?
No, no, I have the cookbooks, and, possibly with SriMu, it will become more of that. The recipe holiday PDF was an attempt to, share my culinary work in that way. But I'm right now launching the company and getting it expanded globally. And also I'm recording music, and I have my podcast, and I have all these books with lots of recipes in them. So I hope those will inspire, and maybe I will do. I did a cooking event with Mel. We did Italia Commune. We did it in the summer, and we did a live cooking event with like 100 people from all over the world, and it was really cool. So I may do another one of those again, but in general, I don't.
Well, have you been back to Rancho La Puerta at all? Because I bet would be well received there.
We're at Rancho La Puerta. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, because they just reopened. I know you guys were there once a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah, thanks, Chef AJ, for reminding me all this good info.
Of course. Well, so last question, what are you going to make for Thanksgiving this year?
Oh my God, this is kind of a loaded question. Well, the truth of the matter is that my daughters have boycotted Thanksgiving due to the Native American need for visibility and to be recognized. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be donating to an array of indigenous organizations that are providing food for children during COVID. Mel's been involved with the Navajo Nation. They're actually called Dene. That's the real name, which who knew? And Jewel, the singer, has been also working to provide meals for them. So we decided this year that we would put our focus there. And then for the holiday meals in December, I'll be making everything that's in this PDF. I love to make just fresh yams with coconut oil and nutmeg. It's one of my favorites, so pure. We'll be doing, butternut squash soup, gluten-free stuffing with celery and walnuts, definitely Brussels sprouts braised with balsamic glaze and some coconut bacon. And many of these recipes are in the Plant Power Way or the Plant Power Way Italia. And I just have to tell you, the Plant Power Way Italia is one of the most beautiful cookbooks. It's extraordinary. And it's actually the one that sold the least of the three, which is so curious to me. So if you've missed out on Plant Power Italia, get it, because it's just loaded with all down on the floor, delicious stuff.
Yeah, well, all your books have beautiful photos. Elisa says, I have 2 of her books and they are outstanding.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, this has been wonderful catching up with you, and I wish you every success with SriMu. And guys, check it out. You got a $13 discount for November and December. I think it would make an amazing holiday gift, especially for somebody that's struggling with giving up cheese.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. It was really lovely to see everyone. I didn't get to see everyone, see AJ. And everyone take good care and remember that your body is a living temple and you can eat for life.
It's beautifully said. And thank all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow. The show will be at 3 p.m. because tomorrow starts the GI Health Summit. And our guest will be Hannah Kaminsky, and she'll be doing a cooking demo. Take care, Julie. Bye-bye.
Thank you.